we are to discuss the item on the refuse dumps. As you know, we have had a challenge around illegal dumps, and we need to clear. The residents are up in arms with the issue of illegal dumps, the issue of litter and rubbish in their neighborhoods. So we need a quick report on what progress we are doing on that issue. Now, let's go to the Pomona issue and the Pomona status.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Director of Works will present a report at the TC to the Special Council on the status of the Pomona Waste to Energy project. Council to note the status of the Waste to Energy project with Geogenics BV. I think before presenting the report, in summary, the project is the implementation stage now of the project. So you find that the report is giving a chronology from the inception to where we are to date. So Council received several project proposals for the Pomona Waste to Energy projects. Some is unsolicited bids, and some is a response to the expression of interest, which was published by Council. In 2016, we received some, and some were received in 2019. The 2016 bids were cancelled in 2018 after the bids became invalid. Then the 2019 process was concluded, but however, there was no successful bidder as observed by the city of Harare. Then in sometime in 2019, Integrated Energy BV submitted a proposal to Council, which went through the Joint Environmental Management Committee, Business, Finance and Development Committees. And then at their meeting of 30 April, it was resolved that the town clerk engages in negotiations with the then prospective investor. An agreement then could not be reached because due to the financial model, the business model, which was found not favorable to the city. Then sometime in 2020, again, the first quarter of 2020, the prospective investor again submitted another proposal where they were now changing the model from a BOT to a BOOT, which are abbreviations from a build, operate and transfer to build, own, operate and transfer. Then first, the engagements on this matter were affected by the onset of COVID-19. We all appreciate that in the beginning of 2020, there was COVID-19. Then somewhere along the lines, the investor, Integrated Energy BV, then changed their name from Integrated Energy BV to Geogenics BV, and the city of Harare was advised through a correspondence from them. Then in January 2021, there was engagement from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, whereby the city responded and advised the Minister of Local Government and Public Works in terms of the progress with the waste to energy project in the city. Then you find that item 5.7 summarizes engagements which happened mainly in 2021, whereby the town clerk engaged with ZITA, seeking opinion on the way forward in terms of the projects. Then you find in 2021 February, there was the engagement where the TC also was seeking advice on ZITA on the way to have the financial model be further assessed. On the first quarter of 2021, again, there were engagements between the TC, again, with the Minister of Local Government, whereby it was mainly the issue of progress being requested and being reported to the ministry. Then in March again, the Permanent Secretary for the Minister of Local Government and Public Works advised the city recommending guidance in terms of engagement to this project, to ZITA, which is here you see that the Permanent Secretary was advising the city to engage ZITA on further advice in terms of engagement. And then there was a meeting held at the city where it was attended from the City of Harare officials, ZITA, Minister of Finance and Minister of Local Government, whereby the proposal was deliberated at length. Recommendation from the meeting were documented and consolidated by ZIDA and submitted to Cabinet Committee on Joint Ventures. Then on June 9, there was a correspondence from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, whereby it was brought to the attention of the city decisions which have been made at the 7th Cabinet meeting of 2021. June 15, there was a correspondence from ZIDA advising and inviting the acting town clerk and the city to a meeting with the delegation of Geogenics BV. And then the meeting then was conducted subsequently, and there was officials from the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works and ZIDA during the period. From the meeting, I think there was, the result from the meeting was that there was a MOU which was signed between the city of Harare and Geogenics BV. The MOU had two key points to be addressed or to be looked into, which was execution of a bankable feasibility study, and then there was also an issue of due diligence on the prospective investor then, Geogenics BV. Then the due diligence was conducted on the investor. This was done in September 2021. There is a report on this due diligence visit. Then after, sometime in between October and November 2021, the city engaged on a process to identify an independent consultant to execute the bankable feasibility study as part of fulfillment of the signed MOU. The process was not successful. Then there was an effort again to engage directly another consultant after advice from or recommendation from the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works on the feasibility study. Then during the course of trying to engage the consultant, there was a meeting held at the Office of the President and Cabinet, chaired by the Deputy Chief Secretary responsible for special infrastructure projects, appointed by the Cabinet to chair the Waste to Energy project. In attendance was the OPC, COH, and ZIDA officials. From the meeting, City of Harare was advised that there was no need for a bankable feasibility study. In December 2021, Cabinet directed Chairperson of the Steering Committee to proceed with the negotiations on the implementation of the project. Then there were invitations made from the Minister of Local Government to invite the prospective investor then to come for memorandum of agreement negotiations. Then there were two preparatory meetings before the negotiations of the agreement, and in attendance were representatives from the OPC, the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, the Attorney General's Office, ZIDA, City of Harare, Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, and ZESA. Then in 2022, the negotiations were then finally held. Then also the negotiation documents are available. Then the MOA was then signed in March 2022. Then the project was awarded the national project status between March and April, and also the sovereign guarantee was also awarded during the same period. Then the handover to site was done on the 20th of April 2022, and this was following the signing of a joint statement on the 27th of April 2022. There was an agreement for joint operations of the site until the 20th of May, whereby after this date the site will be fully handed over to the now contractor on site. Then on 12 May 2022, the city, in response to a letter from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works requesting for progress on the project, the city responded and advised on the status and the progress on the project. Thank you, Your Worship. This is the report as we tabled for this meeting.
Thank you very much. You mean, so eventually, when you say there is no bankable feasibility study, it means we don't know whether this project is bankable or not. No one knows. Is there an intention? Is there intention to do it? What is the intention? How do we proceed? Or how do we get to a situation where we get into a contract without a bankable feasibility study?
If I can come in. The developers have their own studies, feasibility studies with their figures.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Okay. I was saying the developers had their own feasibility studies, but our MOU had indicated that we needed to do an independent study for council, and I think we advertised for international. There was an international tender that was done for. We were looking at the big accounting firms to come in and look at the projects and benchmark, so that they can give us advice, because we have no access to figures from internationally. But that tender did not get a response, and then we went further to ask at the ministry if we, in consultation with we asked for permission since we did not get any responses for the international tender that we did for our own independent bankable study, feasibility study. Went to tender for international. I don't know when was that, but last year. But we didn't get any responses. We were targeting big international companies like Ernst & Young, Coopers, and so on. We thought we could get some of those to come and advise us on that, but we did not get a good response. We did not get any response. And then we further went to the ministry and asked for permission to directly appoint or seek a company, an international company, which we did. I don't know, engineer. We approached a South African company. Yeah, with I think with a local branch. We approached them, and they did not give us a response again. We sent an international accounting company. We sent an inquiry. We sent them terms of references on the web that we were looking for them to do for us, and then we did not get a response. I think that's the point at which the minister said, okay, let's work with the available feasibility study, which is the one that was presented by Cllr.
So they did their. We don't have an independent.
We failed to get a.
Do we even have theirs?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
That is the one that was negotiated
By the minister.
by all the joint negotiating, the other parties that came into the final negotiations, which is Minister of Finance, Reserve Bank, Attorney General, Minister of Local Government, and all the other parties that the engineer has mentioned.
Okay. You are not speaking figures. We are supposed to be paying this company something, isn't it? Per day, your report, I hear you, but it lacks figures. Are we paying them anything? Or are they paying us? From what I understand, so that I don't beat around the bush, we are supposed to be paying, there is a guaranteed minimum of tonnage, where we actually pay this tenant money for our property. Is that accurate? And that we are supposed to pay 550 of equivalent of tons per day, which will grow up to 1,000 tons per day. What is the rationale behind that, if that is true? And what are we going to get? And then also we are the ones who carry the rubbish to Pomona like we have always been doing. Is that so? You want to answer?
No, maybe I'll just. Okay, I think I was just trying to get an opinion from maybe from the chamber and the mayor, that since this matter is before the court, it seems it would not be wise for us to, if the mayor and the councillors need, the documents are available for their perusal, but I think it might not be wise, I don't know, with the chamber secretary, for us to take out all the documents. Maybe it can be done either by a committee or the mayor can ask for the documents and then they can be shared.
Your worship. Point of order, Your Worship. I have a point of order. My point of order is that this matter should be resolved. So whatever the issue which has been raised by AKT, that the matter is before the court, I think it can also discuss this issue to see on the way forward. So I think your discussion, I think you have to pay some more. To is there. To what the way forward.
They were whispering to me here that the various interpretations that the matter is before the court. And I said that we issued a public notice to everyone are interested in this matter, that we were going to discuss the Pomona issue. And when we issued that, we have not received an interdict, we have not received any attempt to at stopping us, or a letter. And as far as we are concerned, we derive our positions, even our reactions to court cases, we derive them from the council. Whether we prosecute something or we don't prosecute something. We derive it from the council. And I believe that at the end of the day, it is council that is going to pay. It is council that is paying. It is council, because if we are going to be paying amounts of money and we fail to pay salaries, it is not going to be a private matter. If we pay an operations, or if we are going to liquidate the council because we have got and entered a contract without a bankable feasibility study, without anything, and we are going to pay the amount, then surely we should be able to discuss it. We cannot close our eyes. If there was an interested party who felt that they wanted to stop the proceedings of this council, they should have made an application to do so and say, yes, we are stopped. We noticed that you are going to discuss this. We've now applied to make you stop. And if a High Court judge had made us stop, then we would stop. But I don't see an interdict. I don't understand why we should stop discussing. And we've simply made a simple inquiry. Are we paying anything per day? Or not? If we are paying, someone says yes. If we are not paying, someone says no. If we are paying, how much are we paying and why? In as much as you are giving us the report of all those other things of what happened. So my question is very simple, say, before you get questions from other councillors. Are we paying anything and how much?
I think through the TC approach that maybe the figures, they're supposed to be attachments, the contract document which had all the figures and everything. But in terms of the MOA signed, the minimum tonnage is indeed 550 tons, which is going to have a cumulative increase to 1,000 tons in a 5-year period. And then the gate fees are pegged at $40 per ton, from which the city is also going to be receiving, I think, 40% of the electricity sales, which are going to be invested from there.
Oh, he's saying that we are paying.
Maybe we haven't received any interest from the church. We are not paying.
All right, that's fine. Let me question so that because some of the questions are common, so that we move. The contract requires us to pay, isn't it? How much does it require us to pay per day? That's the question. If it's you said 40 US per ton.
Yes.
So it's per ton. Yes. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I think there's a question which was raised by the town clerk. I think it was prudent, the chamber secretary, to advise the house before we proceed. That since you are also cited in the matter at the courts, both yourself, Councillor Mutizwa, and the city, that are we privy to go into details of this matter before we proceed? Thank you.
But firstly, can you answer? Sorry. I hear and I've already made a pronouncement on that issue. But what I wanted him to, it's very basic. He has already described the process of getting the contract. I'm simply asking, are you trying to say the residents who are going to pay are not supposed to know how much they pay? It's not going to affect anything. It's simply for him to say, as of today, we are supposed to pay this much per ton. He says that, he has already described all other processes, and then I hear, and we move on. I've not asked for a very difficult and a question that is hidden. So he's an engineer and a mathematician. Just answer quickly.
Like I confirmed, Your Worship, that indeed the tonnage from the beginning first year will be 550 tons per day, and the cumulative tonnage is going to be 1,000 tons per day for the next, after 5 years, for the next 30 years, due to the size of the plant and the energy to be generated in terms of megawatts.
So in US dollars, how much is that?
And then the tonnage per day is $40 per ton.
So if it's 1,000 tons, it's 40,000 US per day.
Multiply by 40, Your Worship.
40,000.
Multiply by 40, Your Worship.
Okay. And is this figure excluding or including taxes?
After tax,
All right. No, that's fine. But okay, let me get to the councillors so that they can ask if they have any questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship. In terms of the concerns raised by the TC, by my fellow councillors, I just want to take the House to section 100 of the Urban Councils Act. And it reads, special committees. 1. A special committee may at any time be appointed A, by the executive committee, or B, by a council, subject to the following provisions. Why am I referring to that? I've heard concerns about those who are interested in the legal lacuna, whatever you want to call it. Therefore, I'm moving a motion for council in terms of the section that I've read, section 100, to set up a special committee to look into this matter with a committee of 7 people that will report within 14 days, that is 2 weeks, to council. And the terms of reference of this committee shall be as follows. Number 1, to examine the circumstances, actors, processes, timelines of the events leading to the signing of the Pomona Waste to Energy Agreement and the level of consultations undertaken, taking into cognizance that we are answerable to the residents of the city of Harare, that exceeds 2 million. Number 2, examine the legal framework under which the Pomona Waste Energy Agreement was executed, paying attention to the procurement procedures of the city of Harare, of the Harare City Council, and the laws of the land. Number 3, conduct a due diligence of the company awarded the contract and its capacity, and highlight the level of disclosure or non-disclosure of material information prior to the execution of the agreement. Number 4, examine the economic, financial impact of the agreement to the city council and its residents and the ratepayers, like what I've said, that exceed 2 million. In particular, examine whether the city of Harare has the capacity to meet its obligation as stated in the contract. We have all read the contract. Number 5, examine the extent to which the city of Harare complied with the recommendation of the Auditor General on the implementation of the Waste to Energy project to the city. Number 6, make recommendations on all of the above and other relevant recommendations, and to report on the findings of the recommendations to the City Council through the Office of the Mayor and through a special council from the date of the commissioning of the inquiry. Last but not least, also whether it followed procedure of council in the decision of the meeting and in the signing of the agreement. So I move this motion, Your Worship.
Okay. There's a motion to create a special council, a special committee, which we are entitled to do so in terms of section 100. Yeah. So which you are entitled to do so. Can we have a second? There's a head there. Yes, Councillor Mafume.
Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Okay.
I would like to second the motion of Councillor Duma,
Okay.
and also the issue to deal with the allowance of that special committee. We refer to the finance committee to deal with it.
It follows the course. So we have a motion to set up a special committee. Is there a counter motion? Is someone who is vehemently opposed? Yes.
Oh, sorry, not on that.
No, yeah. I mean, you want to propose it.
Yeah, I
There's
want to
someone.
propose something.
Yes, is there anyone opposed to the setting up of a special committee to investigate this thing? No. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was of the opinion that is it not prudent for us to hear from the Chamber Secretary whether we will be still in the confines of the law to counter-investigate an issue which is before the courts. May you give the Chamber Secretary an opportunity to advise this council correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There is no one opposed to the motion. Is there? No. Good. So the motion carries. Now, what we want to do is are there with any questions or any other questions to this and other issues? Yes. To the presentation by the, is it a question to the presentation?
Yes, it's a question, Your Worship. I think we hear this issue of moving a motion to set up a special committee to go through whatever this process. But I'm also of the view that it was prudent to hear from the Chamber Secretary before we go. Am I protected?
Wait, Councillor. Let him finish. I can clearly understand what he's saying.
Thank you, Your Worship.
But are you repeating what Councillor meant to say?
Yeah, I'm not repeating what Councillor meant to say. It's a different question altogether.
Okay, say it.
Ndati nini nechivanhu handizvo here kuti Chamber Secretary mubvunzo wabvunzwa vanofanira kunge vatipindura before tisati taenda kuti titi taakuda kuita a special committee inorana whatever the processes dzinoti dzirana, so that we know the decision to take.
Okay, that's fine. I think I've heard the councillor and you've repeated at in museum. I've already made a ruling on that issue. I've already made a ruling on that issue as the chair of this meeting. And I did make the ruling and said that we have already proceeded and we are proceeding to discuss the issues that relate to council. If there is someone who is opposed to that motion, they will stand up and say, I'm opposed to the motion. But if not, we need to move on to the other issues to discuss around the Pomona deal. I have already indicated that if there was an interested party who was interested in stopping us, this meeting was notified to all interested parties. We have not received any application to stop us or any interdict. We are discussing the status of Pomona as it continues and as it states and affects council. So I need contributions that move this debate forward. Thank you.
Yes, Your Worship, it is a follow-up question.
No, it's okay. Let me ask.
Is that the procedure?
Yes, that's the procedure. I'm following.
I think you are not answering me properly.
That is the procedure.
The duty of the Chamber Secretary is to advise this house, not yourself to advise this house. If you were the Chamber Secretary, I could have directed this person to you. But at this juncture, you are not the Chamber Secretary. That's why I refer my question to the Chamber Secretary to advise this house so that we do things which are according to the law.
Do you want to be the mayor?
No, so do you want to be the Chamber Secretary?
Yes, I'm telling you.
No, I need to be guided. I need to be guided. That's why I answer you this question. I need to be guided.
No, I'm guiding you.
You cannot guide me because I asked you. You also cited by the courts as the respondent. So that's the duty of the Chamber Secretary to advise this house. It's clear. It's simple. The Chamber Secretary is here.
Let the Chamber Secretary say whether there's anything that bars us from discussing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Maybe the issue that we had raised first related to the issue of sub-duties, where we might have challenges with regards to publication of matters that are already pending before the courts. For example, in the case of Pomona, we have a matter where a council is being sued by some stakeholders regarding the whole deal. But the concept of subsidies relates to the issue of publication of such matters that are pending. But all the same, it being a public interest matter, council at the moment is not necessarily barred from considering those issues relating to that whole deal. And then going back to section 100 of the Urban Councils Act, it does not bar council from appointing committees to deal with specific matters. So I take note that
Thank you.
since there has been a motion to consider.
Are you answered?
Which can take to have a special committee to consider these issues. The committee can proceed to look at those issues. It has nothing to do with the court process because that special committee will not bar the court process from proceeding. I think the court will still find it will still make its own findings based on what has been submitted before the court.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chamber Secretary. That is why I was asking the councillor whether he wants to be the mayor. But anyway, we have the answer here.
I wanted to ask you, the councillor, whether you want to be the mayor, but you have to go things procedure.
Yeah, you've been answered.
I don't want you to
Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Let's keep this civil. Let's keep this civil. Let's keep this civil. Let's move on. Are there people who have other contributions on this issue?
I agree that it is not a sub-judice issue. It's a lease pendants issue, I understand, but for it to be rendered a sub-judice issue, we needed a court order to validate it as such. Your Worship, you understand that residents have taken seat of Harare to court over the Pomona deal, and I understand that in the litigation proceedings, seat of Harare has filed an opposition to the court application. I would like to move a motion that this esteemed council instruct the town clerk to revoke the opposing affidavits, thus withdrawing the opposition. And I understand that one of the applicants is Honorable Alan Markham, and I would like to make it known to the Harare North residents and the Redcliffe residents that their MP, Alan Markham, and Councillor Elvis Rosani are in sync and moving at the same wavelength with regards to the Pomona deal. Further to that motion, Your Worship, I would like to move that any legal issues to do with the Pomona deal be first be brought to this council and deliberated for approval before the council officials take any position. So I implore the city officials to occupy their proper domain, thus to be guided by the resolution of this house. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Your Worship. I second.
There's no, taking the minutes.
Yes.
Yes, good. So there's no proposal. That motion. That's fine. Is there another issue? Yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Ndafara kwazvo. Chinondishamisa ndechekudai kuti tese tiri pano tiri makansela nemi meya motoshinga kuzvishunhura kuda kufamba muri musvo muchibuda panzava zvinokosha chaizvo muchiendesa ndorevei. I'm saying that contract, it has to be suspended with immediate effect. Why am I saying so? The staff, they must be in denial on that deal or any permission to engage themselves in that cooperate with the company. I don't know what is their name. So that, in shape of that, any form of rubbish must be put in that condition where they were before. Tidzokere pazvakanga zviri pakutanga ndopandoda kuti tidzokere. So inini I'm saying good, that contract it has to be suspended and revert back kwatakanga tiri, and the employees they must take orders from here, not from those companies. Thank you.
Is there someone seconding that motion? Yes.
I second the motion. Worship. I think suspension is pending the finalization this special committee. Go up to council.
Special council.
I'm not saying suspension should be with immediate effect. Suspension should be with immediate effect. But in the process, special council didn't hit a basarai.
Okay, that's fine. So, do we have an opposer? Do we have anyone opposing? Good. So that's fine. Since we've set up, there are a few legal issues that the chamber would like to highlight in a little bit. But since we have set up a special investigation committee, we might not need to detain ourselves further with the debating the issues and the various issues that are arising, and any other issues of illegality or legality or otherwise can be raised with the special committee. I undertake to name the special committee within the next 24 hours in terms of Section 100 and the mandate that have been given to me, and the time frame, the strict time frame that we have set ourselves Yes, I'm aware that there are consequences when you suspend a contract. This is what they were highlighting to me. I'm aware that there are consequences, but that is the resolution, and we have to take some of those consequences on the chin. We are not the advisors of external parties. And I've noticed that in all these things, the councils, and from the report, our council officials were sheepishly agreeing to everything. They were sheepishly being told what to do by this office and that other office. That is not the procedure. It does not mean if you are called to a meeting by the Reserve Bank, by the Attorney General, by whoever, you have to agree to everything. You are told no bankable list, you agree. You are told you are going to do this, you agree. You are told do that, you agree. In that report, I did not hear any instance where the city official said no on behalf of the city. Said no, I need to get back to the officials. I think everybody who is in this council chamber must understand that primarily we are here to do what is in the best interest of council. That is what we are here to do. We are employed as councillors, as council officials. The residents do not expect us to be pushed around by any office, any other office that is doing their own job. We have workers to pay. We have assets that have been given to us since 19 Kochanembe. Assets that have belonged to the council. We have lost our power stations. We have lost our roads. We have lost Pomona dumpsite. We keep losing and losing. No one gives to the city council. Everyone wants to live in Harare. No one gives to it. Parliament is here. That same Reserve Bank lives here in Harare. All those officials you are talking about have got houses in Harare. But every decision that is being made is made against the interests of the citizens of Harare. We cannot be parasitic. We cannot have a parasitic relationship to the city where we always take from it. We take buildings, we take money, we take assets, we take and take and take and take. No one talks about anyone who has given to the city. Zupco was taken. Everything is being taken. We cannot have a relationship like that. When you are called to discuss by a minister, by an official of government, by anybody, know that you are wearing the jacket of the city of Harare, a city that was built by the blood and sweat of many generations before you. And those generations built the city not for us to give it away. Why should we give away the whole city? Everything in the city, everyone is taken. There is a letter from this person. There is a meeting by this person. There is an instruction by this person. Are they God? That you have to listen to their every instruction. Who will defend the city if it's not us? We must defend this city. This is one of the oldest cities in Africa. One of the best cities in Africa. And we have allowed it to be taken, to be abused, and no one defends the city. We should come to a point where we say no. No, it's enough. Stop taking. The residents keep crying. They know how beautiful Harare was. Most of them are old enough to know how beautiful Harare was. So as we close this meeting, and as we appoint this special committee, I want to know who is that person who thinks that their job is to take away from Harare to the extent of taking a dump site. You are tired of taking everything. You now want to take where we put our rubbish. What is next? So we must understand that we are here to defend the city of Harare. If you don't want to defend the city of Harare, don't be an employee, don't be a councillor, allow people to take everything so that we know that people don't want to represent the city of Harare. So I want to close it here as on this a few words. We know, energy, waste energy. These are simple things that everyone has done everywhere in the world. They have international best practice. I was talking to the engineer here. He's an engineer. He knows. He was telling me that there are standard contracts for these things, isn't it? There are standard contracts for many things. And we can't have an unstandard contract. So let's close this meeting. Let's get, yes, you wanted to say?
Thanks, Your Worship. I understand your frustration, Your Worship. And we share the same frustration. But I was of the proposal that we adjourn for some minutes so that we consider the names for that special council meeting, rather than to wait or to call for another meeting to adopt those names.
The chamber secretary says it's not necessary. I will be able to give you the names and the names.
We mandated the mayor.
And I will be mandated. They will be valid. I hear your concern. There will be councillors. I can name the councillors that will be there in the committee. Councillor Ian Makone will be in the committee. Councillor Charumbira will be in the committee. And Councillor, what's his name? Duma will be in the committee. So, and then gender, Councillor Kadzombe will be in the committee.
It's an all-boys club.
Yeah, we can't have an all-boys club. Okay, that's fine. So let's get this out. Why the other members might need to come from council, outside council, we might need a lawyer and a technical expert in that council to understand what we are talking about. Yes.
Sorry, maybe we can fine tune in terms of the conversation, but I was thinking now 4 I think is a big number for councillors. Maybe we also need outsiders, so I think maybe we can reduce to 3. Maybe we can also discuss with them outside this meeting, so that we can make final conversation.
Let's not get into specifics. I just wanted to allay the fears of the councillor. It is in terms of Section 100. It then allows the committee itself to get some members, to drop members, just in case someone flies away or something happens to them, you are able to replace the members as a committee yourself once you've chosen a chairperson. So there's some issues that the chamber secretary wants to put on record. So let me just whisper with him so that I understand what it is he wants to put on record. And then he will put it.
Your Worship, I think it should be put on public record that myself, I have registered my reservations about the motions that have been moved, and I will be part of those after the courts would have concluded this issue. Thank you, Your Worship. It should be minuted.
That's fine.
And I'm also in that.
Okay, that's fine. So what we will do is that there are issues that I've been advised of, that one.
And then also.
So let's have, there are one issue, there are 2 issues. No, wait, no. Let's get to a close of the special council meeting. The first issue that he was going to raise, I've raised it, that there are consequences, that he has advised me, that there are consequences if one suspends a contract, isn't it? Yes, and to terminate that contract.
Already binding.
So I don't know whether you can get that because you're not the lawyer for the other side. If the lawyer of the other side, they know the consequences. If anything happens, it's written in black and white. We have received your advice. The advice from the Chamber Secretary is that should the contract be terminated, there are clauses that penalize the one who has terminated the contract. I cannot go further than that because we will then end up giving legal advice to the other side. So we understand in every contract there is a consequence to that, and we will need the consequence when it comes. So, Chamber Secretary, I've told the whole chamber your concern. The second concern is that they wanted to explain that they had opposed the application on technical issues. And there were some issues that they thought they were misleading, and they wanted that to be alerted to the House. But are you saying they should change the motion, or you just want balance?
Obviously, that contribution would affect how people will make decisions on that. Because the town clerk has to maintain that statement because it clarifies certain issues that are not correct. Obviously, the judge will then come up with his own judgment after having looked at all the documents before him.
So that's
it's up
fine.
to the court, but obviously there is no need, in my view, for the acting town clerk to then change that affidavit which had clarified certain issues that would create.
Look, okay, that's fine. So he has said what he has said, but the motion says what it is saying. So what we will do is to look at how those two will marry and as we move forward. So we've got the motion worded as it has said. He has expressed his views, which can be noted, and then we see how we proceed. So I want to thank you all for attending this meeting. Can we have a closing prayer?
Can we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this afternoon for the wonderful meeting. We thank you, Father, for helping us into moving this deal. We thank you, Father, for the committee that has been elected, which we know will work with good faith so that this deal does not exist anymore. We thank you, Father, and we really know and appreciate, Father, the work that has been done by the mayor into securing us, into giving us knowledge into how we can handle this deal. Thank you, Father, for keeping us working with the community. The community has to understand how we feel about this deal. Amen.
Ayo.